there was a letter from the Rebbe to Rabbi Hutner. Rabbi Hutner was a very big Litvish Rosh Yeshiva. Rabbi Hutner, Yitzchak Hutner, he lived in New York, and everybody knew him. He was a Rosh Yeshiva, he was a great scholar, and he knew the Rebbe from before the Rebbe became Rebbe. The Rebbe once told my father that Rabbi Hutner knows me already from years back. And the Rebbe sent him some new Sfarim that came out from Kahos. The Sefer Likutim, when it started to come out, the Rebbe sent him several volumes. And the Rebbe wrote to him that I hope that you would take interest in these new books that he came out. That's why I'm sending you these books. He wrote to the Rebbe a letter that he's taken aback and he's offended. He says, when you write to somebody that maybe you'll take interest, that means that you and the book are actually two different things. You're apart from the book, and you are taking interest in this book. Like I gave you the example before, when a tourist comes to tour a certain country, he's not connected to the country. He's coming to tour, he's coming to see, to look at it, to take an interest in it. But somebody lives in his house, he's not touring his house. This is his chayes, this is his house. So he wrote to the Rebbe that he's taken aback. He says most of him, what he's Rabbi Hutner, is he took from Chassidus Chabad. He says if you take out Chabad from Rabbi Hutner, there won't be much left of Rabbi Hutner. So here, how could you just say I should take an interest because of it? This is part of me. This is me. How could you say that I should take only an interest in it? This was the letter that Rabbi Hutner sent back to the Rebbe. So I asked the Mashpia, what the Rebbe didn't know who Rabbi Hutner was. He knew Rabbi Hutner very well. So if Rabbi Hutner claims that he knows that he's part of Chabad, how does the Rebbe Be'etzem write to him that I hope you would take an interest in the books in Chassidus, B'shas Rabbi Hutner proclaims that he's actually part of it. So he told me what he heard once from my father, Olav Hasholem. My father, Olav Hasholem, once told him that the Rebbe Rashab said that the Talmidim from Chafetz Chaim, even if they learn a lot of Chassidus, they won't be Chassidim. Why is that? Because they don't have a Rebbe. It's not only learning Chassidus, it's together with learning Chassidus, you have to be connected. And connected to Chassidus, you can be connected only through the Rebbe. Rabbi Hutner learned Chassidus, and by him Chassidus was a very real, interesting philosophy, and he used it in his speeches and his teachings. And he was a big chassid from the Rebbe, from the Maharal Prague, but he wasn't a chassid. He wasn't connected. And that's why the Rebbe wrote to him, as we mentioned before, that he would take an interest in Chassidus. To be a chassid, the only way you could be a chassid is being connected with the Rebbe. You connected the Rebbe, then Chassidus becomes your life. If somebody learns Chassidus because he has an interest in learning Chassidus, and he likes Chassidus, it could inspire him to a certain amount of inspiration. But to say that he lives with it, that he won't be able to live with it. The only way to live with it is through a Rebbe. Why is that? Because Chassidus is something that's higher than a person completely. And to live with Chassidus is very, very, you have to be there. You have to be, like the Rebbe Rashab said when he learned Likutei Torah, it says, Ilu yedaitiv hoyisif. That means to say when he learns Chassidus, he's there. And for us Chassidim, when we learn Chassidus, that's not enough. We have to be there. We have to be connected to the Rebbe. I remember sitting by Fabrengen, Rabbi Yoel Kahn Fabrengen, and there was Rabbi Mendel Vechter. I don't have to introduce to you what Rabbi Mendel Vechter is. He was once a real renowned Satmar Rosh Yeshiva, and he had the best students of Satmar, and he became Lubavitch. Derech Hagav, how did he become Lubavitch? So he was interviewed in a paper, and he gave over in the interview as follows, that he was learning, he was a great scholar, he is a great scholar, he's a goyin, he's a genius, he knows everything. He knows not only Chassidus, Maharal Prague, and everything, any book that you know, he's well acquainted. Till today, he gives shiurim in Zoom, because of the COVID, he gives shiurim in Zoom to all in Yiddish and in Hebrew, and he have a lot of people that are connected to his shiurim. So he went through everything, and he felt something is missing. But he didn't want to have chabad. Satmar at that time was against Chabad, opposed to Chabad. And at one time, he says he was in the bungalow colony that was not far from a Lubavitcher bungalow colony, and he told the Lubavitcher that he has a question in Tanya. And he thought that maybe a Lubavitcher that learns Tanya could answer him. Not that he really appreciated Lubavitch, but Tanya he learned. Tanya was not from today's generation. So the Chassid told him, I can't answer you. There's only one individual that will be able to answer you, is Rabbi Kahn. Who's Rabbi Kahn? He understands Chassidus. He made encyclopedia on Chassidus. So he refrained from going because he said he's definitely a professor, but he had this question, and he had to ask Rabbi Kahn. So he made an appointment by Rabbi Kahn on Thursday night, 2 o'clock in the morning, because nobody should see him coming to Lubavitch. But he expected the worst. He was sure he's going to see somebody with a purple shirt, with purple pants, with a big cigar, with a big, big, big bow tie. That's what a professor looks like. He walks into Rabbi's house. Did you ever see what Rabbi's beard looks like? Well, I don't have to introduce it what Rabbi's beard looks like. It's not taken care of. He was sitting with a sweater. He had a hole by his elbow. The Mendel Vechter was so surprised. He saw this a Yid that's bechlal not in this world. The world doesn't matter to him. He asked Rabbi Kahn his shaila. Rabbi gave him an answer, a 2-hour lecture to give any answer. He went out of his kalim to hear the answer. I met Rabbi Mendel Vechter afterwards, after he gave the interview to the paper. So I asked Rabbi Mendel Vechter, and I tell him, this was your first time that you heard Rabbi Ashir. How did you understand his asbara, what he said? He tells me, I'll tell you the truth. I did not understand a word what Rabbi Kahn is saying. It was all new to me. But what I did understand, I understood that there's something that I have to understand. He was able to understand that such high concepts, that how much he learned, he has no idea what the concept is. He heard there's something deep in it that he has to get to it. So that's why that's where he started to learn Chassidus. But he made one condition, that he's only going to learn Chassidus till the Rebbe Rashab. Because till the Rebbe Rashab was against the Zionists, all the Satmar shtick. But he wanted to learn with him my mother for the Rebbe. So he took a mimer for the Rebbe and retyped it, and on top he put the date Tovkuf Tzadik Zayin. And that's what he did with several Maimorim, and he learned them. The Mendel was very nispal. They started to learn Shliach V'Amunah, and we all know that in Shliach V'Amunah, when it comes to the end of Perek Dalet and the end of and Perek Hey, that's some brackets that's very hard to understand. It's very high Kabbalistic messages or Kabbalistic Musagim, and it's very hard to Kabbalistic concepts. So there's a very nice beer, a very important beer from the Rebbe. I think it's printed in Chelik Chofalev, but the Rebbe said in Shabbos Pashas Mishpatim, Toshel Chav Zayin. I remember I was Emel Tobocher, a young boy. I remember that Shabbos Fabrengen was in the winter, and Rabbi Weinberg was learning the tanya on the radio. When he came to that part, he told the Rebbe that it's inexplainable. The Rebbe said by the Fabrengen, he'll explain this part of Tanya. The Rebbe spoke for about an hour and a half or 2 hours explaining. I remember the Olam went out of the Kalim. It's a yesod, it's a base in the whole concept of Chassidus. I remember that after the Fabrengen, usually we would run home to make Kiddush, or made Kiddush before, to eat something, but nobody washed before the Fabrengen. Nobody went home. Everybody was glued to 770 discussing the whole sikh. It's a amazing sikh. Rabbi Kahn was learning this Shari Yechadvuna Perek Dalet Perek Hey. So he took out the Likutei Biurim from Rabbi Korf, and he told him there's a beer on it. There's an explanation of this Perek Dalet Perek Hey. He asked Rabbi Kahn, who's Rabbi Korf? He says he's from the Rebbe Rashab Chassidim. He's from the Rebbe Rashab Chassidim. So definitely we could learn the beer. They learned through the beer. Rabbi Mendel Vechter was already in a stage that he started to understand Chassidus. He went out of his kalim. Only after a while, Rabbi Yoel revealed the big secret that this is from the Rebbe. Rabbi Mendel Vechter told me that he flopped. The education that he got to Satmar about the Rebbe was so contradicting to do what he's learning. Fine, so Mendel Vechter decided he's going to learn Chassidus, So I'm going back to, I was once a Fabrengen, that Mendel Vechter was there. The Mendel Vechter sat very serious. He wasn't a Lubavitcher yet. In the whole Fabrengen, Rabbi Yoel spoke to him, he says, it's impossible to stand outside and look what's going on inside. You can't be outside Lubavitch, you're not connected to the Rebbe, and learn Chassidus for yourself, because that was his major plan. He said, I'll remain Satmar, but I'll learn Chassidus, and that will give me a chayis, that will give me understanding all about the Bria Sa'olam, all about the Vechter, all about everything, but I'll remain Satmar. I was present at the Fabrengen, and Rabbi Yoel said, you can't stand outside the house and look inside. You have to be part of it. Chassidus is not learning medicine. Chassidus is not learning math. Chassidus is a way of life. And a way of life, you have to be part of it. To be, Chassidus should be a way of life. The only one that could put us in such a position is Hiskashrus to the Rebbe. The man Vechter took it to heart, and he became a Lubavitcher. After a long time, that Satmar stopped fighting chabad. Not only that, Satmar today have a lot of Lubavitcher friends, and he himself went to Satmar to Fabreng there. He said he had a packed sukkah, and they were all listening because he has what to say. He's very, very gishmak. He has a very, very good explanation, and he knows how to give out all the ideas, and people should listen to him. So the Satmar came to him and told him, we're asking you one thing. Come back to Satmar. You can learn with your students Likut HaSichos. You can learn with your students Chassidus, but come back to Satmar. He said, I'm not coming back to Satmar. They promised him money. They promised him kavod, honor. They promised him everything you want. He says, I am not leaving Lubavitch. I'm not leaving the Rebbe. I'm not for 1 minute going to put myself in a position that I'm back a different chassid. I am the Rebbe's a chassid and Lubavitch a chassid. In Lubavitch, I have no money. I have no honor. I have nothing. He definitely has no money because Lubavitch, they don't know how to treat those people, those mashpim and all that, whatever. They know how to give him kavod maybe, but in Satmar, for such a thing, they give him everything that he needs. I'm not going into that. That's not the purpose of the Fabrengen. But Mendel Vechter remained loyal and is a chassid. And this is what Rabbi Kahn told him, to be a chassid. And this is what the Rebbe meant when he told Rabbi Hutner, that you could learn Chassidus and you do Avodas Hashem. But if you're not connected to the Rebbe, you won't be able to get out of it. And here,